For 200 years, the humans had been the gentle ones. Every species in the Galactic Concord knew this. When two empires went to war, it was the humans who came with white flags and calm words. When a planet burned from natural disaster, it was human ships that arrived first with food and medicine. When ancient enemies sat at opposite ends of a negotiating table, it was always a human who sat in the middle, patient and kind, helping them find peace. Ambassador Elena Vasquez had spent 30 years doing exactly this work. She stood now in the Great Hall of Station Meridian, the largest meeting place in known space. Around her, representatives from 100 different species argued and shouted. The Veth delegation, tall beings with 4 arms and skin like blue metal, accused the Korath collective of stealing their mining rights. The Korath, small and covered in brown fur, insisted the Veth had attacked their ships first. Elena raised her hands. Her voice was soft but somehow filled the entire hall. "Friends," she said, "we have been here for 6 hours. Both sides have spoken. Both sides have been heard. Now, let us find the path forward together." The Veth ambassador made a sound of disgust. "This is why humans are useless in real matters. You think every problem can be solved with talking. You think kindness is strength." Elena smiled. It was the same smile she had worn through 1,000 insults from 100 species. "I think kindness is a choice, Ambassador. One I make every day." The Korath representative laughed, though not cruelly. "The humans are strange, but they have helped us before. Let us listen to Ambassador Vasquez." And so they did. By the end of the day, a treaty was signed. Another war prevented. Another success for human diplomacy. Later that evening, Elena returned to her private quarters on the station. She was tired, but it was a good kind of tired. On her desk sat a photograph of her daughter, Maria, who lived on the colony world of New Helsinki. Maria was 17 now, with her mother's dark eyes and her father's stubborn chin. She was studying to be a doctor. Elena touched the photograph gently. Tomorrow, she would call Maria. Tomorrow, she would hear about her daughter's classes, her friends, her dreams. Tomorrow. But tomorrow would never come the way Elena expected. Far across the galaxy, in a region of space filled with red stars and dead planets, the Draven Empire was making plans. The Draven were predators. Their ancestors had been hunters on a world where everything was prey or predator, and there was no middle ground. They had conquered their home system, then the next, then the next. For 300 years, they had built an empire on blood and fear. High Commander Zorath stood before the Emperor's throne. He was tall even for a Draven, with scales the color of dried blood and eyes like yellow fire. "The humans continue to spread their weakness," Zorath said. "They teach other species that kindness is strength. They make our potential subjects believe they do not need to fear us." The Emperor leaned forward. He was ancient, covered in scars from wars long past. "And what do you propose?" "A lesson," Zorath said. "We have tested the humans for decades. We raid their ships. We take their people. And what do? They send diplomats. They send complaints to the Concord. They do nothing. Because they cannot," the Emperor said. "It is their nature. They are prey animals pretending to be something more." "Yes, my Emperor. And it is time we reminded the galaxy of this truth. We will strike one of their colonies. We will kill many, and when they do nothing in response, every species will see that human kindness is just another word for human weakness." The Emperor smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Do it." 3 weeks later, the Draven fleet arrived at New Helsinki. It was festival day on the colony. The streets of the capital city were filled with families. Children ran between colorful stalls, eating sweet foods and playing games. Musicians played on every corner. The sky was clear and blue, and the twin suns cast warm, golden light over everything. Maria Vasquez was in the central plaza with her friends. They were laughing about something silly, the way young people do when they have no idea that their world is about to end. The first explosion came without warning. A Draven warship appeared in the sky, impossibly large, blocking out the suns. Then more ships came, and more. The sky filled with them until there was no blue left, only the dark metal of the enemy fleet. The attack lasted 4 hours. The Draven did not target military bases, because New Helsinki had none. They targeted the plaza where the festival was held. They targeted the schools. They targeted the hospitals. They targeted everything that humans loved. everything that made them human. When it was over, 40,000 people were dead. The beautiful city was burning. The Draven broadcast images of the destruction across every channel in the galaxy. "This is what happens," High Commander Zorath announced, his face filling screens on 1,000 worlds. "When you mistake kindness for strength, let the humans weep. Let them beg the Concord for justice. Let the galaxy see what they truly are." On Station Meridian, Ambassador Elena Vasquez watched the broadcast in silence. Around her, alien diplomats offered words of sympathy. They spoke of sanctions, of strongly worded letters, of diplomatic consequences. Elena did not hear them. She was looking at the images from the plaza, at the spot where her daughter had been standing, at the crater that was there now. Something changed in Elena's eyes. Something old and cold and patient. The Veth ambassador approached her carefully. "Ambassador Vasquez, we are deeply sorry. What can the Concord do to help?" Elena turned to look at him. The Veth stepped back, startled. In 30 years, he had never seen that expression on a human face. "Nothing," Elena said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "The Concord can do nothing. We will handle this ourselves." "Handle it? But what can you do? The Draven have the largest military in the sector. Your people have no real weapons. You are kind." Elena finished for him. "Yes, we are kind. We have chosen to be kind for 200 years. We have helped you end your wars. We have fed your hungry. We have healed your sick. And in all that time, we never asked for anything in return. We never reminded you of what we are capable of." She picked up the photograph of her daughter, looked at it one last time. Then she set it down, face down on the desk. "The Draven believe our kindness is weakness. They believe we cannot fight. They believe we are prey." She walked toward the door. They are about to learn how wrong they are. The Veth ambassador called after her. "What are you going to do?" Elena paused at the door. She did not turn around. "Something we hoped we would never have to do again. Something we have spent 2 centuries praying we could forget. Something that lives in every human heart, no matter how hard we try to bury it." "And what is that?" Now, she turned. And the Veth ambassador, who had lived for 300 years and seen many terrible things, felt fear for the first time in a century. "Remember," Elena said. Then she was gone. Within 1 hour, every human ambassador, trader, and citizen had begun returning to Sol. Within 2 hours, human communication channels went dark. Within 3 hours, the galaxy began to wonder what they had woken up. They would find out soon enough. The galaxy waited for humanity to cry. Every species knew the pattern. When something terrible happened to the humans, they responded with tears and words. They called emergency sessions of the Galactic Concord. They demanded justice through proper channels. They made speeches about peace and understanding and the need for all species to work together. This is what the Draven expected. This is what everyone expected. But 72 hours after the New Helsinki massacre, the humans had said nothing at all. On Station Meridian, the Great Hall was full of confused diplomats. The Veth ambassador paced back and forth, his 4 arms waving with worry. The Korath representative kept checking communication devices that showed only static on human channels. Even species who had never cared about humans before were asking questions. "Have they responded yet?" asked Ambassador Trevan of the Sealox Confederation. "Nothing," the Veth ambassador replied. "No messages, no demands, no tears, just silence. Perhaps they are in shock. Grief can make species go quiet. This is not grief silence. I have dealt with humans for 60 years. I know grief silence. This is something else." The Korath representative looked up from her device. "My government has been trying to contact human traders. All of them have left our space. Every single one. They took their ships and went home. Same with us," said another voice. The Yanari ambassador, a being made of living crystal, moved forward. "Human aid workers were helping us rebuild after the earthquake on our 4th moon. Yesterday morning, they all left. They did not say goodbye. They just left." Around the hall, similar stories emerged. Human teachers had abandoned their posts on alien worlds. Human doctors had walked away from their patients. Human diplomats had canceled every meeting, every negotiation, every peace talk they were involved in. 200 years of connection, cut in a single day. Far away, in the Draven Empire, High Commander Zorath was celebrating. The Emperor had given him medals. Songs were being written about his great victory at New Helsinki. Images of the burning human colony were being shown in every school, teaching young Draven that prey species could be crushed without consequence. They have retreated to their home system, one of Zorath's officers reported. Just as you predicted. They are hiding like frightened animals. Zorath laughed, showing his teeth. Of course they are. I told the Emperor this would happen. Humans are not built for war. Their bodies are soft. Their instincts are weak. They spent 200 years playing peacemaker because they knew deep down that they could never be warriors. Should we pursue them, strike at their home worlds? Not yet. Let them hide. Let them suffer. The longer they cower, the more the galaxy will see their true nature. In a few months, when they come begging for peace, we will demand everything. Their colonies, their technology, their complete surrender. But Zorath did not know what was happening inside human space. No one did. On Earth, in a building that had not been used in 200 years, the leaders of humanity gathered. The room was deep underground, protected by walls of metal and stone that could survive anything. Old flags hung on the walls. Old weapons sat in display cases. Old photographs showed scenes from ancient wars that most humans had chosen to forget. Admiral Marcus Chen sat at the head of the table. He was 70 years old, with white hair and a face covered in wrinkles. For the past 40 years, he had commanded humanitarian missions. He had delivered food to starving colonies. He had rescued survivors from dying ships. He had never fired a weapon in combat, but he had been trained to. Every human officer was trained for war. It was a secret they kept from the galaxy. While they built schools and hospitals, they also built weapons. While they preached peace, they also practiced battle tactics. While they showed the galaxy their kindness, they hid their claws. The Prometheus Protocol, Admiral Chen said, looking around the table. I never thought I would say those words. General Sarah Wong, commander of Earth's ground forces, nodded slowly. None of us did. We hoped we would never have to. 40,000 dead, said Director James Okonkwo of Intelligence. Including children. Including Maria Vasquez. The room went silent at that name. Everyone knew Ambassador Elena Vasquez. Everyone knew what the Draven had taken from her. The galaxy thinks we are weak, Admiral Chen continued. The Draven think we are prey. They have spent decades testing us, and we have responded with patience every time. Because we believed patience was the better path. Because we believed kindness could change the galaxy. He paused. We were wrong. He pressed a button on the table. Holographic images appeared in the air. Ships, thousands of ships. Weapons, millions of weapons. Soldiers, billions of soldiers. For 200 years we have hidden our true strength. Every cargo ship has hidden guns. Every colony has buried arsenals. Every piece of technology we shared with the galaxy has a version we kept for ourselves. A better version. A deadlier version. General Wong leaned forward. The question is, do we use it? Admiral Chen looked at the photograph in his hand. It showed New Helsinki before the attack. Happy people, bright streets, children playing. The question is not whether we use it, he said. The question is how far we go. Director Okonkwo brought up more images. We have complete intelligence on the Draven Empire, their fleet positions, their command structure, their weaknesses. We have been gathering this information for decades, just in case. Then we know where to hit them. We know where to destroy them. The room went silent again. This was the choice. This had always been the choice. Humanity could be kind, or humanity could be terrible. For 200 years, they had chosen kindness. Now, someone was forcing them to choose again. Admiral Chen stood up. He looked old in that moment. Old and tired and sad. But his eyes were hard. I spent my life saving people, he said. I became an admiral so I could save more people. I believed that if we showed the galaxy enough kindness, enough patience, enough love, they would learn to be kind in return. He paused. The Draven did not learn. They looked at our kindness and saw weakness. They looked at our children and saw targets. They looked at our mercy and saw permission. He walked to the display case on the wall. Inside was a sword. It was very old, made of simple steel, with a worn leather handle. It had belonged to his grandfather, and his grandfather's grandfather, going back through generations of warriors who had fought and died long before humanity reached the stars. No more, Admiral Chen said. We gave them every chance. We showed them every kindness, and they answered with fire and death. He touched the glass of the display case. The kindness of humans has ceased, and the battle will begin immediately. 24 hours later, a single message was sent to the Galactic Concord. It came from Ambassador Elena Vasquez, who had returned to human space. Her face appeared on every screen in the Great Hall of Station Meridian. She looked different. The warmth was gone from her eyes. The patience was gone from her voice. She looked like a statue made of ice and iron. For 2 centuries, she said, you have known our kindness. You have seen us heal and help and hope. You have watched us choose peace when we could have chosen war. Some of you thought this made us weak. Some of you thought this made us prey. She paused. Behind her, the ambassadors could see something moving. Ships, enormous ships, filling the darkness of space. You were wrong. Our kindness was never weakness. It was a gift we chose to give, and gifts can be taken back. Her eyes seemed to look directly at every viewer, every species, every world. Today, we take it back. Today, the Draven learn what happens when they mistake our mercy for permission, and tomorrow, the galaxy will remember why humans were once feared as much as they are loved. The transmission ended. In the Great Hall, no one spoke, no one moved, no one breathed. The silence of humans had broken, and what came next would change the galaxy forever. The Draven patrol fleet was bored. Commander Vexus sat in his chair on the bridge of the warship, Crimson Fang, watching empty space through the viewing screen. His ship and 30 others guarded the border of the Empire, protecting against enemies that never came. It was easy duty, safe duty, boring duty. Anything on sensors? He asked, not really expecting an answer. Nothing, Commander, his officer replied. The same nothing as yesterday. And the day before, Vexus made a sound of annoyance. He had joined the fleet hoping for glory. Instead, he spent his days watching empty space, while officers like High Commander Zorath earned medals for attacking defenseless colonies. The humans are probably still crying in their home system, another officer joked. Maybe they will send us a strongly worded letter. The bridge crew laughed. Everyone knew humans were harmless. Everyone knew they would never fight back. Then the sensors screamed, "Commander!" The officer's voice cracked with sudden fear. Multiple contacts, hundreds of them. No, thousands. Vexus jumped to his feet. What? Where? Show me. The viewing screen changed. Vexus felt his blood turn cold. Ships were appearing from faster-than-light travel. More ships than Vexus had ever seen in one place. They came in perfect formation, rows and rows of them, filling the darkness of space like a metal tide. Each ship was painted black with white markings. Each ship bristled with weapons that Vexus did not recognize. How many? Vexus whispered. 3,000 confirmed. More arriving every second. 3,000. The entire Draven border fleet was 31 ships. They were facing an enemy with 100 times their number. Impossible, Vexus said. The humans have no military. They have cargo ships, aid vessels. Not this. A communication signal came through. A human face appeared on screen. It was a male human, old, with white hair and eyes like frozen stone. Draven vessels, the human said. I am Admiral Marcus Chen of the United Earth Navy. You have attacked our people. You have murdered our children. You have mistaken our kindness for weakness. The Admiral paused. Behind him, Vexus could see more humans working calmly at their stations. No fear, no hesitation. Just cold, terrible purpose. Your mistake, Admiral Chen continued, will not be repeated. This is Commander Vexus of the Draven Empire, Vexus shouted, trying to sound brave. You are trespassing in Imperial space. Turn back now or face destruction. Admiral Chen almost smiled. Almost. You have 7 minutes to surrender your vessels and prepare for boarding. After 7 minutes, we will demonstrate what happens to those who harm our families. You cannot threaten the Draven Empire. We are warriors. We are 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Vexus cut the communication. His hands were shaking. All ships, battle formation, charge weapons. We will show these humans what Draven warriors are made of. His officers moved to obey, but Vexus could see their fear. The human fleet was too large, too organized, too different from everything they had been told about the soft, kind, Harmless humans. Across the galaxy, other species were watching. The Galactic Concord had access to long-range sensors. They saw the human fleet arrive. They counted the ships. They stared at their screens in disbelief. That is impossible, the Veth ambassador said quietly. We have traded with humans for 200 years. We have visited their shipyards. They do not have ships like that. They have them now, the Korath representative replied. The Yanari ambassador, ancient and wise, spoke slowly. We always wondered why human cargo ships were so heavily armored. We assumed it was because humans were cautious. We never considered. He stopped, unable to finish. They were hiding, the Veth ambassador realized. All this time, all these years, they were hiding what they could do. A Psylocke analyst had been studying the sensor data. Now he looked up, his face pale with shock. Those weapons. I recognize some of the signatures. Gravity bombs, quantum missiles, neural disruptors. These are theoretical technologies. We thought they were impossible to build. Apparently humans did not get that message. Back at the border, Commander Vexus had made his choice. He would not surrender. He would not run. He was a Draven warrior, and Draven warriors did not fear prey species. All ships! Open fire! The Draven fleet launched everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, plasma torpedoes, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The human fleet did not move. Then, calmly, precisely, they responded. The first wave of human weapons was something no one had ever seen before. Gravity pulses that crushed Draven ships like paper cups. Missiles that seemed to predict where enemy vessels would dodge and arrived there first. Beams of energy that cut through Draven shields as if they did not exist. In 3 minutes, half the Draven patrol fleet was gone. Fall back! Vexus screamed. All ships, fall back. But there was nowhere to fall back to. The human fleet had surrounded them. Every direction was blocked by black ships with white markings and weapons that glowed with terrible promise. Admiral Chen's face appeared on screen again. You have 4 minutes remaining, Commander. I suggest you use them wisely. Vexus looked around his bridge. His officers were terrified. Some were praying to gods they had stopped believing in. Others were simply staring at the destruction around them, unable to understand how everything they knew had become wrong. We surrender, Vexus said. The words tasted like poison, but he was not ready to die. We surrender. Stop firing, please. A wise choice. Admiral Chen said. Prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be met with immediate force. You will be treated according to galactic law, as prisoners of war. Prisoners of war? The Draven Empire has not surrendered. You will be. Soon. The communication ended. On Station Meridian, the diplomatic community was in chaos. Representatives from every species were trying to understand what they had just witnessed. The humans, the kind and gentle humans, had just destroyed most of a Draven patrol fleet in 7 minutes. A young Korath analyst ran into the Great Hall, carrying a datapad. I have been researching human history, she announced. Their old history, before they joined the Concord. What did you find? The Veth ambassador asked. The analyst's voice shook as she spoke. They were warriors. For thousands of years, they were some of the most dangerous warriors their world had ever seen. They fought each other. They conquered nations. They built empires. They developed weapons that could destroy entire cities in a single moment. But they were peaceful when they found us. They chose to be peaceful. That is not the same thing. The analyst showed them images from Earth's history. Wars, battles, destruction on a scale that made the Draven look like children playing with toys. They buried this part of themselves. They decided to be better. They spent 200 years proving they could be kind instead of cruel. The Veth ambassador sat down heavily. And we believed that kindness was all they were. We all believed it, the Yanari ambassador said. Even the Draven believed it, especially the Draven, the old crystal being moved to the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the human fleet was moving deeper into Draven space. Somewhere out there, a species that had spent 2 centuries being gentle was remembering how to be terrible. There is a human saying I once heard, the Yanari ambassador said quietly. Beware the anger of a patient man. I never understood it until now. What does it mean? It means that those who choose patience, who choose kindness, who choose to hold back their power, when they finally stop holding back, There is nothing more dangerous in the universe. The ambassador turned to face the hall. The Draven killed 40,000 humans on New Helsinki. They thought it was a lesson. They thought it would teach humanity to fear them. He paused, and his crystalline body seemed to glow with inner light. It was a lesson, but not the one they expected. The Draven taught humanity to remember what they truly are. And now the galaxy will learn that lesson too. In the darkness of space, the human fleet continued its advance. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the stars go by. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "High Command is asking for a status report." Chen nodded slowly. "Tell them the unveiling is complete. The galaxy has seen what we are. Now we show them what we can do." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed, heading deeper into Draven space. The war had truly begun. 6 months of war changed everything. The Draven Empire had ruled their corner of the galaxy for 300 years. They had conquered dozens of species. They had built the largest military fleet in known space. They had never lost a war. In 6 months, humans broke them. The human campaign was different from anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was not wild or emotional or driven by rage. It was cold. It was precise. It was mechanical. Human commanders studied every enemy position, found every weakness, and struck with perfect accuracy. They destroyed military bases while leaving civilian cities untouched. They attacked supply lines while protecting food shipments. They eliminated Draven warships while rescuing Draven survivors from the wreckage. The Draven could not understand it. They expected humans to burn everything, to take revenge without mercy, to become the monsters the Draven always believed were hiding inside every species. Instead, the humans fought like surgeons removing a disease. They cut out the military power of the Empire while leaving everything else standing. High Commander Zoreth was no longer celebrating. He stood in the Emperor's war room, watching holographic displays that showed disaster after disaster. The border fleet had been destroyed in the first week. The outer colonies had fallen in the first month. Now human forces were pushing toward the core systems, toward Draven Prime itself. "We need reinforcements from the southern sector," Zoreth said, his voice tired and defeated. "There are no reinforcements," one of his officers replied. "The southern fleet was destroyed yesterday. The humans knew exactly where they would be. They knew our formation, our tactics, everything. Impossible. Our communications are encrypted. They broke the encryption, sir. They broke it years ago. They have been reading our messages for decades." Zoreth slammed his fist against the table. "How? How can this be? They are prey. They are weak. They spent 200 years building hospitals and schools, not weapons and intelligence networks. They did both," the officer said quietly. "They just never showed us the second part." The Emperor listened to this exchange in silence. He was very old now, ancient even by Draven standards. In his long life, he had conquered many enemies. He had never imagined being conquered himself. "Tell me about the humans again," the Emperor said finally. "Tell me what we missed." An intelligence officer stepped forward. "Majesty, we have been reviewing everything we know about human history. Before they came to space, they spent thousands of years at war with each other. They developed weapons of enormous destruction. They fought battles that killed millions. We knew this, yes, but we did not understand what it meant. When humans stopped fighting each other and came to the stars, they made a choice. They decided to be better. They decided that the universe did not need another warrior species. They buried their weapons and their anger and their capacity for violence. But they did not destroy these things. No, Majesty. They kept them, hidden, waiting, just in case." The Emperor closed his eyes. "And we gave them a reason to remember. We killed 40,000 of their people, Majesty, including many children. We broadcast it across the galaxy as a triumph." The intelligence officer's voice dropped. "We showed them that kindness would not protect them, so they stopped being kind." Outside the war room, the sounds of distant explosions could be heard. Human forces were bombing the military installations around the capital. Soon, very soon, they would arrive at the palace itself. "Is there any hope?" the Emperor asked. Zoreth answered. "The final fleet, every ship we have left. 3,000 vessels guarding the planet. If we can defeat them here, we might negotiate terms. And if we cannot," no one answered. On the human flagship, Admiral Chen was preparing for the final battle. Around him, Officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. There was no excitement, no bloodlust, no joy, just focus, just purpose. The Draven Final Fleet has formed a defensive sphere around their home world, his tactical officer reported. 3,000 ships, all their remaining military power. Our strength? 2,800 combat vessels. We are slightly outnumbered. Another officer looked up. Admiral, we could wait for reinforcements. The second fleet will arrive in 72 hours. That would give us an advantage. Chen shook his head. Every hour we wait, the Draven have time to prepare, time to dig in, time to make this more costly than it needs to be. He stood and walked to the main viewing screen. We end this today. Admiral, there is another option. This came from Director Okonkwo, who had joined the fleet as an intelligence advisor. Our agents have accessed the Draven Planetary Defense Network. We can disable it remotely. Without their defensive grid, their fleet would be exposed. How long would that take? 11 seconds. Chen nodded slowly. Do it. Before the battle began, a message was sent to the Draven fleet. Admiral Chen's face appeared on every Draven screen. Ships of the Draven Empire, he said. You are outmatched and outmaneuvered. Your defensive grid will fail. Your commanders have led you to destruction. But you do not have to die today. On the bridge of his command ship, Emperor Zorath watched the human admiral with hatred in his eyes. I offer you one chance to surrender, Chen continued. Power down your weapons. Open your hangar bays. Accept peaceful boarding. Those who surrender will be treated according to galactic law. Those who were not involved in the New Helsinki massacre will eventually be allowed to return to their families. He lies, Zorath snarled. Humans always lie. You have 5 minutes to decide. After that, we attack, and we will not stop until every military vessel in your fleet is destroyed. The Admiral paused. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. In the Draven fleet, chaos erupted. Some captains wanted to fight to the death. Others wanted to surrender. Arguments broke out on every ship, in every command center, on every bridge. Then the Emperor spoke. His voice carried across the fleet communication network. We are Draven. We are warriors. We do not surrender to prey species. All ships. Attack formation. We will destroy these humans or die with honor. The Draven fleet surged forward. Admiral Chen watched them come. Begin the operation. 11 seconds later, the Draven planetary defense grid went dark. Thousands of weapons, platforms, orbital stations, and missile batteries simply stopped working. The Draven fleet was alone. The battle lasted 4 hours. It was not a battle of equals. The humans knew every Draven tactic, every formation, every weakness. Their weapons cut through Draven shields like water through sand. Their ships moved in patterns that seemed to predict where the Draven would be before they got there. One by one, the great Draven warships fell. Some exploded. Some were crippled and left drifting. Some, seeing the hopelessness of their situation, finally powered down their weapons and surrendered. By the end, 80% of the Draven military was destroyed. The rest had surrendered or fled. Admiral Chen looked at the wreckage floating in space. So many dead, so much destruction. All because one empire thought kindness meant weakness. Send landing parties to the surface, he ordered. Secure the capital. Find the Emperor and the war criminals. And, he paused, his voice softening just slightly, help any civilians who need help. The Draven people are not our enemy, their leaders are. As human soldiers descended to Draven Prime, they did something that confused everyone watching. They helped. They found wounded Draven soldiers and treated their injuries. They found collapsed buildings and rescued survivors. They found frightened citizens and gave them food and water. The Emperor was captured in his throne room. He expected to be killed, or tortured, or humiliated. Instead, a human soldier simply put restraints on his wrists and said, "You will face trial for your crimes. You will receive fair judgment. That is more than you gave the people of New Helsinki." The Emperor stared at the soldier. "I do not understand you. We killed your children. Why do you not kill ours?" The soldier looked at him for a long moment. "Because we are not you. We never wanted to be warriors again. You forced us to remember how. But we will never become monsters. No matter what you did, no matter how much we want revenge." He led the Emperor away. Later that day, A young human soldier was helping clear rubble from a collapsed building when he found a Draven child, scared and alone, trapped under broken stones. "Please do not hurt me," the child whispered. The soldier carefully lifted the stones away. He picked up the child gently and held her until she stopped shaking. "I am not going to hurt you," he said. "I am going to take you somewhere safe." "That is what we do. But we are enemies." "No," the soldier said. "Your leaders were our enemies, and they are gone now. You are just a kid who needs help. And we help people who need help. That is who we are." The child looked at him with confusion and wonder. "Even us? Even you? Always." The war was over. But the real work was just beginning. 1 year after the war ended, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The Draven Empire was gone. Its military was destroyed. Its leaders had been tried for their crimes against humanity and other species. Some were in prison. Some had been executed. The Emperor himself had died in custody. Old and broken. Still unable to believe that prey species had defeated him. But the Draven people remained. Billions of them on dozens of worlds. Suddenly without an empire, without leadership, without purpose. Many species expected the humans to punish them, to take revenge, to make the Dravens suffer for what their leaders had done. Instead, human aid ships arrived. They brought food. They brought medicine. They brought engineers to repair damaged cities. They brought teachers to help rebuild schools. They brought the same kindness that humans had shown the galaxy for 200 years, now directed at the species that had tried to destroy them. The galaxy could not understand. On Station Meridian, Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood before the Galactic Concord. It was the same hall where she had mediated disputes for 30 years. The same hall where she had learned about the death of her daughter. The same hall where she had announced that human kindness was being taken back. Now she was here to give it back. The representatives of 100 species watched her in silence. Some looked at her with fear, some with respect, some with confusion. All of them waited to hear what the humans would say next. Elena took a deep breath. She thought about Maria, about the photograph she still kept in her quarters, about the daughter she would never hold again. She thought about the war, about the ships burning in space, about the soldiers who had died on both sides. She thought about the Draven child she had met last week, a little girl whose parents had been killed in the conflict, who was now being raised by human foster parents on Earth. 1 year ago, Elena began. "I stood in this hall and told you that human kindness had ended. I told you that we were taking back the gift we had given the galaxy for 2 centuries. I told you that the Draven would learn what happened when they mistook our mercy for weakness." She paused, looking around the room. "They learned. The galaxy learned. Everyone now knows what humans are capable of when we stop being kind." The Veth ambassador shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The Korath representative looked down at her hands. Even the ancient Yanari ambassador, who had lived through many terrible events, seemed nervous. "But that is not the lesson I want you to remember," Elena continued. "The lesson is not that humans can be terrible. Every species can be terrible. The Draven proved that. Many other species have proved it throughout history. Violence is easy. Cruelty is easy. Destruction is easy." Her voice grew stronger. "What is hard is choosing kindness. What is hard is looking at a universe full of pain, and fear, and competition, and deciding to be better. What is hard is spending 200 years building trust instead of weapons, helping instead of hurting, healing instead of destroying." She stepped forward, closer to the assembled representatives. "Humans made that choice. We made it every day for 2 centuries. We could have conquered. We could have dominated. We could have built an empire larger than anything the Draven ever dreamed of. Instead, we chose to be kind. We chose to be patient. We chose to be the species that helped. And look what it got you," someone muttered from the back of the hall. 40,000 dead." Elena turned toward the voice. It was a Selox representative, young and angry. "Yes," Elena said quietly. 40,000 dead, including my daughter, including children who never did anything wrong, including families who believed they were safe because they trusted in peace." She took a moment to compose herself. "Do you think I have not asked myself if it was worth it? Do you think I have not wondered if we should have been warriors all along? Do you think I have not laid awake at night, wishing we had crushed the Draven before they could touch New Helsinki?" The hall was completely silent. "I have asked all these questions. I have felt all this pain. And I have found my answer. Elena lifted her chin. It was worth it. Our kindness was worth it. Because for 200 years, we showed the galaxy that there was another way. We proved that a species could be powerful without being cruel. We gave hope to 1,000 worlds that peace was possible. But the Draven did not listen, the Sealock's representative said. They attacked anyway. Yes, and they paid for it. But that is the other lesson. Elena's eyes grew hard for just a moment. Our kindness is not weakness. It never was. It was a choice we made while keeping our strength hidden. We did not become kind because we were incapable of war. We became kind because we were capable of war and chose something better. She turned back to face the full assembly. So here is our new promise to the galaxy. Our kindness returns. Today, now, we will help you build. We will help you heal. We will help you find peace with your neighbors and prosperity for your people. We will be everything we were before New Helsinki. And if someone attacks you again, the Veth ambassador asked, then we will remember. We will always remember what we can do. Elena's voice dropped to something quiet and dangerous. Let that memory be enough. Let no species ever again mistake our kindness for permission. Let no leader ever think that attacking human children is a path to victory. She looked around the room one final time. We choose to be kind. We will always choose to be kind. But we will never again let that choice be used against us. This is the new covenant between humanity and the galaxy. Take our help. Accept our friendship. Build a better universe with us. She paused. But harm our people. Harm our families. Harm our children. And remember what we showed you this year. Remember what happens when human kindness ends. The hall erupted in conversation. Some species were relieved. Some were worried. All of them were changed by what they had witnessed. 10 years passed. The galaxy slowly healed. The Draven worlds were rebuilt, now part of a democratic federation guided by human advisors. Trade routes reopened. Diplomatic channels grew strong. The memory of the war faded into history books and educational programs, but it never disappeared entirely. On New Helsinki, a memorial stood in the center of the rebuilt capital. 40,000 names carved in stone, surrounded by gardens where children played and families gathered. Every year, people from across the galaxy came to pay their respects. One day, a young Draven woman arrived at the memorial. Her name was Kira, and she was 20 years old. She had been a child during the war, one of the orphans who had been cared for by human families during the rebuilding. She walked through the gardens until she found the name she was looking for. Maria Vasquez, the daughter of the ambassador. The same age Kira was now when she died. I am sorry, Kira whispered to the stone. I am sorry for what my people did. A voice came from behind her. You have nothing to apologize for. Kira turned. An older human woman stood there, with gray hair and kind but sad eyes. Kira recognized her immediately from the history programs. Ambassador Vasquez, she said, bowing her head. I did not mean to intrude. Elena Vasquez walked forward and stood beside the young Draven woman. Together, they looked at the memorial. You were a child when this happened, Elena said. You did not attack anyone. You did not kill anyone. You carry no guilt for the crimes of your leaders. But my people made terrible mistakes, and they paid for those mistakes. And now they are building something better. Elena placed a gentle hand on Kira's shoulder. That is what matters, not what was done, what is being done. What will be done? Kira looked at the human woman with confusion. How can you be kind to me? My people killed your daughter. Elena was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. Because kindness is not something that happens to us. It is something we choose. Every day, every moment, no matter how much pain we carry, no matter how much anger we feel, we can still choose to be kind. She looked at Kira with something like love. I spent 10 years being angry, 10 years wanting revenge, 10 years wishing I had been there to protect my daughter. A tear rolled down her cheek. But Maria wanted to be a doctor. She wanted to heal people. She believed that kindness could change the universe. If I let hatred consume me, I betray everything she believed in. So you choose kindness instead. I choose kindness instead. Every day. Even when it hurts. Even when it costs me everything. Elena smiled through her tears. That is what makes it valuable. That is what makes it real. That is what makes it human. Kira looked back at the memorial. At the 40,000 names. At the flowers left by visitors. At the children playing in the gardens nearby. Human and alien together. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course. Will it ever happen again? Will your kindness ever cease again?" Elena considered the question. She looked at the sky, at the twin suns that had witnessed the massacre and the rebuilding, at the future stretching out before them. "I hope not," she said finally. "I hope no species ever forces us to remember what we are capable of. I hope the galaxy has learned that our kindness is real, but it is not limitless. I hope we can spend the next 200 years being gentle, being patient, being kind." She turned to look directly at Kira. "But if it does happen again? If someone looks at our kindness and sees weakness? If someone attacks our children and thinks we will do nothing?" Her eyes, for just a moment, showed something ancient and cold and patient. "Then we will remember. We will always remember. And we will answer." The two women stood together at the memorial as the sun set over New Helsinki. Human and Draven, former enemies, now just two people, trying to build a better galaxy. Above them, the stars came out one by one. Somewhere out there, human ships were carrying aid to distant worlds. Human doctors were healing sick aliens. Human teachers were educating children who had never known peace. The kindness of humans had returned, and this time, the galaxy understood what that kindness truly meant. It was not weakness, it was strength. Choosing to be gentle, it was power. Choosing to help instead of harm, it was humanity, at its very best. And may the stars help anyone who forgot it.